Is it in your best interest to max out a Mega Gallade in Pokemon Go? Is it worth it from a Mega standpoint? Where does it sit as far as a Psychic and a Fighting type Pokemon? And it also gets some other movesets that are pretty cool and unique to this Pokemon. So we'll see what do we do with Mega Gallade in Pokemon Go. So welcome to the Trainer Club. Here we go. As far as Mega Gallade goes, this Pokemon is a Fighting and a Psychic type Pokemon. It is a Mega Pokemon and it does max out above 5,000. And that's exactly what we're going to check out in this video. And not only that, we'll check out where does Gallade as a regular Pokemon sit in PvP so we can cover everything about Gallade in Pokemon Go. This Pokemon will max out at 5,112 with an attack of 326, a defense of 230, and a stamina of 169. So it's definitely a Pokemon that's heavier weighted in the attack category. As far as its weaknesses go, from yesterday's counter guide, you guys already know it's going to be Fairy, Flying, as well as Ghost, and it's going to be resisting Fighting as well as Rock. So notice that this Pokemon does not resist Dark, because Dark is going to be strong against Psychic, and it's going to resist it by Fighting, so it makes it neutral. It will still hit it relatively hard because it's a little bit more on an attacker standpoint Pokemon, but that's just something to note out, that some of you guys may see that Fighting type and be like, oh, Dark type, but it's kind of neutral for this Pokemon from this standpoint. As far as its fast attacks, it gets Low Kick, Cycle Cut, Confusion, and Charm. And Charm is going to be one of those movesets that does create some problems for certain Pokemon because Charm is strong against Dragon types. And for its charge moves, it's going to get Psychic, Leaf Blade, Close Combat, and Synchronoise. And don't forget that Synchronoise is going to be a Calm Day move on this Pokemon. So if you do desire Synchronoise, you are going to have to Elite TM onto a Gallade to be able to get this. So hopefully during the raid day, Synchronoise will come on these Mega Gallades, but I have a feeling that they're not. But we'll see if it's necessary here, because Psychic is a stronger meta attacker moveset, but Synchronoise may be more advantaged from a PvP standpoint if you do choose to use it. So it does get Low Kick and Close Combat as far as double stab fighting moves, but it is not the strongest combination of moveset, but we will see in this analysis where does that sit for this Pokemon. The strongest moveset on this Pokemon is going to be Confusion and Psychic at a 49.48 in the ER value. From a Cycle Cut and Psychic combination, it's going to be 48.92. It will get the Synchronoise at 47.7, and the Low Kick going down the list with Psychic movesets. And then if we go Confusion and Close Combat, it will be 44.23. If we're going to check out Leaf Blade, it will be Confusion and Leaf Blade at 43.25. And then if we keep going down the list, we can see the Low Kick and Close Combat at 41.84. And Mega Gallade can also get Return if you do Purify a Shadow Pokemon at 41.33. Alrighty guys, so now we have to start with the category which we pretty much know it's not going to stack up against, which is going to be Psychic, because we already have Mewtwo in the game, we have Shadow Mewtwo in the game, we have eventually Mega Mewtwo in the game, and that is just a strong category that you do not want to mess with unless you are a Mewtwo. But regardless, we're going to still see where this Pokemon sits. So we have the Cycle Cut Side Strike on the Mega Mewtwo Y at 65.02, and then on the Mega Mewtwo X it's going to be 62.97. The Shadow Mewtwo is going to be 58.23, followed by Mega Alakazam with Confusion and Psychic at 52.18, followed by the Mega Latios at 50.29. Then if we go to the next page, we're going to have the regular Mewtwo at Cycle Cut and Side Strike at 50.28. The Shadow Rider is not out yet. And then in the 8th spot overall, including the non-out yet Pokemon, 7th, if we don't include that Pokemon, we're going to get the Mega Gallade with Confusion and Psychic at 49.48. Followed by the Mega Gardevoir, which is just very, very slightly below with Confusion and Psychic at 49.43, and the Mega Metagross at 46.92, which is not out yet. So from a Psychic category, guys, honestly, this Pokemon stacked up a little bit stronger than I thought it did. Obviously, the Psychic is going to be the moveset that you need to make in order to make it compete, and then also the one thing to note is that the Mega Alakazam is stronger than this specific Pokemon. So take that information as you may. It is not a bad Pokemon in the Psychic category, it is just not the strongest. And for me, myself personally, I already have multiple maxed out Shadow Mewtwo's, multiple maxed out regular Mewtwo's, I already have a maxed out Alakazam for a Mega category. So for this specific Pokemon, will I max one? Probably, because I think this Pokemon is cool and I try to max out at least one Mega in every category. But at the same time, I will probably use a shiny, hopefully, and then I will max it as a lucky Pokemon so that I can get a lot less Stardust invested in this Pokemon as opposed to investing 500,000-ish without having as big of a return as something else could, especially with me already having a maxed out Alakazam. But let's not stop there. We're going to analyze it in the fighting category starting now, and then after we're going to check it out with a grass charge moved as well. So we do have Mega Lucario at the top, no surprise, with Force Palm and Aura Sphere at 59.31, followed by Mega Heracross, with counter and close combat at 47.44, followed by the Mega Blaziken, 46.89, Terrakion at 45.98, the Shadow Conkeldurr, which is going to be a budget but shadow Pokemon, which will include a lot of Stardust to power up, with counter and dynamic punch at 44.91. And if we go to the second page in the 6th spot, we have the regular Lucario at 44.5, Keldeo at 43.41, Shadow Machamp at 42.03, and Mega Gallade at 41.84. So when looking at this Pokemon in the fighting category, unfortunately there are already some really powerful fighters out in this game. We do have the Mega Lucario, obviously that's at the top. We have the Mega Heracross, and then we also have the Mega Blaziken that make the top, and then obviously we have shadow strong Pokemon that are actually stronger than this Mega. So unfortunately in the fighting category, this Pokemon is not quite as impressive, but it's not poor either. So these are kind of Pokemon that sit in a situation where it's like, I wouldn't use them because I have other maxed out Pokemon in these categories, but at the same time, it's not a ineffective Pokemon. There's just a little bit better options out there. So from these perspective, guys, I honestly think that it's not a bad option. It's really not. If you want to max one of these out, I prefer that it be lucky so that you're not investing a lot of Stardust into this Pokemon and that you have this ability. But now let's check it out with the grass category before we jump into PvP. In the grass charge move only category, Mega Sceptile at 53.14, Primal Groudon at 50.02, Mega Latios, and then Mega Venusaur going down the list, Shadow Sceptile. We actually have Mega Gallade in the 6th spot overall at 53.25, followed by Xurkitree and Kartana at 42.93. So once again, it's sitting in a pretty good spot, not the best spot, but not the worst spot, and it's actually honestly pretty impressive in all of these categories, except that it gets beat out by other Pokemon. So for me, I've told you my recommendation, it still holds true. What would be my recommended moveset for this Pokemon? I'd probably go Confusion, I would go Psychic from a meta attacker standpoint, and then you could either rotate between a fighting move of close combat or Leaf Blade on this Pokemon, and you can maybe have one or two and use it as such, but there are stronger Pokemon out there for this. But let's see where it does sit in PvP. In the Great League, the Shadow is going to be ranked 52, with Psycho Cut, Close Combat, and Leaf Blade, and the non-Shadow is going to be at 125. The IVs will be a 0-15-15 on this Pokemon. And then in the Ultra League, 106 in the Shadow and 170 in the non-Shadow, so it's less relevant in the Ultra League. And the IVs for the Ultra League is going to be a 0-12-15. And then for the Master League, it's going to be ranked 130 in the Shadow and 186 in the non-Shadow. So if we look at this Pokemon, Synchronoise is not even recommended on anything for this Pokemon. So Psychic is a better move as a meta attacker, and then for PvP it's not recommended as far as anything goes from this standpoint. So guys, we don't really need Synchronoise on this Pokemon. However, if at some point Synchronoise does get a buff and you need to have it back, you are going to have to use an Elite Charge TM. But for this Pokemon, Shadow Pokemon for the Great League, and then for the meta attackers, it's pretty good. I would consider it great, not excellent like the other top counters in the game. So do with what you may and what you like. Pokemon's great. I enjoy it. It's cool looking. Not the most effective, but it's still not counterproductive. Even if you powered it up, you would still be winning in this game. So thank you guys for being here as always. I love and appreciate you guys. To all of my likers, commenters, subscribers, Patreon members, everybody takes your support, subscription, and space 2x level. I'm gonna see you guys out on the next video. Peace.
I want to take this time to thank everybody who supports me in every facet. It means the world to me, and an extra special thank you to all my Patreons. I greatly appreciate the extra support to continue to allow me to pursue Pokemon Go full time, allowing me to create my daily video uploads in the most timely fashion for everyone's benefit. Plus, I get the amazing experience of sharing my creative processes behind the scenes and rating all around the globe with select upper tiers. Thank you everybody for being a part of the Trainer Club. You all mean the absolute world to me, and I will see you guys out on the next video.